Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Prepare to have your bones chilled and your hairs raised. It's the WacArnold's Brothers podcast.
Welcome home.
You heard it. I heard it. That means it's true. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's fucking episode 46 of the WacArnold's Brothers, man. 46.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to be honest. This movie that we're about to talk about was just like, it takes a bite right out of you. Okay.
It also makes up for how shitty of a movie Blood Beat is. So,
oh man, Blood Beat was wild. This movie is like, so anyway, we're talking about Eaten Alive.
Yes.
Eaten Alive. I guess you can call it a creature feature, really, because it centers sort of around a big crocodile.
Yeah, it's not like Lake Placid, giant CGI alligator. But yeah, there's a crocodile in it. It's directed by Tobe Hooper, and it's written by Kim Hinkle, who. It was one of the co-writers of Texas Chainsaw.
Nice.
Interesting thing. What's that?
This the movie that it made right after? Like, this was Toby's next movie, I believe.
I believe. So it has an interesting little factoid. Two little interesting factoids. It had the working title of Death Trap. It was shot. So it's like set in Texas, but it was shot in California on a soundstage. And it's also like loose. It's like loosely. Well, it's not. I was going to say it's loosely inspired, but that's not what I meant to say. I meant to say it's. Well, it is inspired. It was inspired by the story of this guy, whose name was Joe Ball, and apparently he was an owner of a bar in Texas that had like a live alligator attraction, and during this time he had murdered several women. And there's a legend, which was never proven true, but there's a legend that he disposed of their bodies by feeding them to his pet alligators.
Oh man, that's fucking wild, dude! What the fuck? But what's cool about that is like that kind of falls in line with what Tobe Hooper had been kind of doing. Like, I mean, Texas Chainsaw was loosely based off of real life events. And Ed Gein,
True.
And so I think it's kind of cool. I mean, to pick at elements, but that is a story I've never even fucking heard of. Like, I'm gonna have to look that up later. That's fucking crazy.
This movie also has Marilyn Burns is in it, who is also in Texas Chainsaw. We got a young Robert Englund plays one of the characters, and then we have a really young Kyle Richards. She plays Angie, and she would later play Lindsay Wallace in Halloween, and then the legacy character in Halloween Kills. Yeah. But in this movie, all she pretty much does is scream the whole time.
Yeah, dude, there's so much screaming in this movie. It's wild. It's true, man. Like, as soon as you see like his mug, man, Robert Englund is like he's just so distinct,
Yeah.
But he's so young in this. Like, it's fucking
totally
wild.
It is. It's crazy to see. You know what I mean? It's way before, his iconic turn as Krueger. So you know what I mean? It's just like, but yeah. So the movie opens with this like shot of a full moon, and then we get the opening credits, and then the movie actually starts with this shot of a man opening his belt.
Yeah.
We get this.
It's gonna be great from there.
We get this great line that I had never seen this movie until now. I'd always wanted to, but never got around to it. We get this line that is in Kill Bill. So like, it's like Kill Bill is like makes a reference to, it's like the line is almost similar, but the first line that is uttered in this movie is, and we haven't seen his face yet, but it's Robert Englund. He says, "Name's Buck, and I'm raring to fuck."
Yo, dude. Yes. Dude, that is such a good call, man. I did not make that connection, but holy shit. You have to wonder if that is a fucking connect, man, because that's so simple. Like, yes, my name's Buck, dude. Okay, Buck's. I will say in this scene, Buck's a little hands on. But he, you know,
he's with a prostitute.
Yeah, he's with a prostitute, and he's trying to get his nasty going, and he does a lot of like Robert Englund does a lot of like rubbing of his chest in this scene and stuff like that. It's like super. He has all these like weird fidgety quirks about him, and like.
Yeah, he's basically like trying to get this girl to do anal. It's like we're led to believe.
He's like, I'm gonna ride you like you've never been ridden before. And you're just like, this is fucking. It's like a weird, cringy way to open up this movie, but
because it's like while he's complimenting her, he's also like, you know, tells her to turn over and get on her knees.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's so weird, and just like I don't know, just like trying not to picture Freddy Krueger also is like a whole other element. But quickly into this scene, you enter this character, Miss Hattie. Right, Miss Hattie is a freaky fucking character.
Yes, she is.
There is like, I don't know if this is like a choice that was made like on purpose or not, or like what I don't know what the reasoning was, but she looks gray in the face.
Yeah, it's weird. She looks yeah. It's like I don't know if that was like obviously some makeup, but yeah, man.
I was like, what a weird makeup choice. But that's
she does not
that's
look
Carolyn
healthy.
Jones.
Okay.
Carolyn Jones is Morticia Addams from the original television series.
Interesting. Oh.
So that's what's like another really random thing I guess about this movie. It's like it had like a handful of people that
like, you know, the guy that plays Judd, Neville Brand, like apparently he was like a big name actor like in the 50s and 60s. So there's like oh
man, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like a weirdly movie, but
I didn't put that connection together. But yeah, she does look weird, and
it's
like because in this scene, like the prostitute like is telling him like you know, she doesn't want to do what he wants to do, and their commotion leads Miss Hattie to come into the room.
Yeah, and Miss Hattie kind of like diffuses the situation, but then she takes what's her name, Faye. She takes Faye and just like immediately goes downstairs and like calls her assistant Ruby to the room and goes, there's this great thing. She's like, get this tramp's bag.
Yeah, she kicks her out for not, you know. Yeah.
And, you know, and like the character Ruby's there really quick and like, you know, gives her $20 and sort of like comforts her. It's sort of like being like, listen, it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I like how she, like you said, she diffuses the situation by telling Buck to go downstairs and pick two of her very best girls for no extra charge.
Yeah.
So he made out like a bandit.
Yeah, Buck got lucky.
Starbucks.
Starbucks. Oh my God. Heading on down to Starbucks.
But yeah, so she gets kicked out for not wanting to take it in the ass. Long story short, and you know, the lady, I forget her name. You just mentioned her name, but like maid of the brothel, Ruby, tells her, you know, hey, go down to the Starlight and get yourself a place to stay for the night.
See, like Ruby was cool up until she gave that advice. Because, you know, Faye makes her way down to the Starlight.
Starlight. Sorry.
It's immediately fucking weird. Like it's like
creepy,
like the door like opens by itself, you know, which is never a good sign.
It just looks run down too.
Yeah,
it just looks like
it's like it's a garbage looking place, man.
All I know is that if I rolled up to that place and right outside the door was a pen with an alligator in it, I'd be out of there. See ya.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker right there.
Yeah.
You got a gator out there? I'm good. Yeah, it's just like weird. And then, you know, like Faye enters and like the whole place is just like creaky and rickety, and like out comes, you know, Judd after a fashion, but he doesn't make it a big fucking hurry to like, you know, pop out. He just sort of like peeks out the door and then like kind of moseys on out. Like he's a slow moving character for this Judd at times, but you can just tell something's like off. Like the whole mood is off, and he like has her like sign in for her room or whatever, but like he like moves her hand out of the way so he could like check out her cleavage, and like it's weird, and
it is bizarre.
And he's like, you know, you can't tell what his deal is. He's got like he's got like broken glasses. He's kind of disheveled. Yeah. You know, I don't know. He's just a fucking weird cat. But anyway, he shows her up to her room eventually, I believe, right?
Well, yeah, like he goes to like bring her to her room. She tries to pay, and he's like, you know, you can pay in the morning, which I guess is kind of nice. But he ends up telling her about the crocodile. Yep. And then as he's leading her up to her room, he stops and asks if she's one of Miss Hattie's girls. And like takes his glasses off to get a good look, and it kind of like sets him off. Where, you know, then he starts pulling her close and starts to attack her and starts trying to rip her dress off.
Yeah. And they have this like, you know, he's like, he like starts like kind of assaulting her. He also drops in this sequence when he's talking about the croc. I have to point out, he makes a claim that whole croc can outrun a horse, and I was like, I don't know if I heard him wrong, but I could have swore he dropped the N-word and told a story about the croc eating a black person or something. I don't know if I heard that wrong. I don't know, man. It is right into the character of Joel Judd here, but yeah, like within like moments, he's like trying to assault this lady. They take he's, you know, they're thrashing on the stairwell, and he ends up like, they both end up flying and rolling down the stairs. And you know, like it's one of those classic things, you know, like who's gonna get up first. Like, you know, you see
totally,
obviously Faye starts getting up, but Judd's like on top of her or whatever, so she's like,
yeah, she has to push him off.
Yeah,
and she's like limps outside at this point, where, you know, there was some damage taken in the tumble down the stairs.
Oh yeah, but you know, she doesn't get very far outside.
No, she does not.
Yes, I can't. It's not the first kill. It's not the tool he uses later. It's like he kills her with like a pitchfork or something.
A pitchfork, yeah.
You know, just like
and he just like not just like one stab too. Like he like multiple times. There's just blood flying everywhere.
It's a pretty decent kill. Like
it is,
and yeah,
this kill
gets aggressive.
This kill alone makes up for, and there's better kills that come, but this kill alone makes up for everything in Blood B. Because not only does he like brutally stab her with the pitchfork, and but she's still alive at this point, but he ends up like shoving her over the porch into the water that the crocodile is in, and then you hear, as he like looks on gleefully, you can hear the sounds of her being eaten.
Yeah, dude. The croc gets fed for the first time.
Yeah. First of many.
The first of many. There's like a lot of like interesting, I gotta say, like it happens later too, but there's like in this sequence, there's this like weird shot of like a monkey.
Yeah.
And it's like
super
all red. You know what I mean? And I keep wondering where all this like super red glow comes from in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of beautiful red lighting. I love red lighting in movies. This movie has its share of red lighting for sure.
But you kind of like slowly pick back up with Judd, who's like, I don't know, he's like in his room singing this song to himself, like.
He's also like jotting down in this little like notepad, like, and you see a scene later where he has a notepad where it almost looks like he's writing down like maybe his kills in the book. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I was wondering. I was like, yeah, it's maybe like exactly like his kills, like the person or something, you know?
Yeah.
But like this scene's kind of a little drawn out because he's just like, I don't know, it's weird. There's also like one of his chairs in the background looks to be draped in a Nazi flag, which was interesting.
Huh. Oh yeah.
Like you really like, I don't know, they don't hold any like mystery about like whether or not Judd's a good guy or not. They just sort of seem to
he's a
paint him
piece
as,
of
like,
shit.
He's this like immediate piece of shit.
Mhm.
And this is all like all this shots like we were mentioning with the monkey earlier. It's kind of like intermixed with these like shots of the monkey and like shots of water, you know,
Shots of the crocodile, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah, true.
yeah, I don't know. It's like it kind of takes its time, which is I don't know. Like I'm kind of into it in a way, like because like we were talking about, there's like certain like aesthetics otherwise, like the red lighting and stuff, which it just sort of like creates this weird little like pocket. You all of a sudden get lost in this like backwoods area, you know,
Totally,
because of the pace of this. And I think
that's that's why I mentioned earlier about like he mentioned that you know, rather than shooting on location, that they built this set and that he like purposely was trying to create this like different like dream-like atmosphere with the movie. And I definitely think everything you just mentioned kind of it does feel that way, and it does feel like its own unique setting, and it's pretty cool. Yeah,
I agree. And you know, it all continues because you know, some more these I'm blanking on the fucking guy's name now, but like the couple of characters roll up to the old Starlight.
Yeah, Roy, his wife Faye, their daughter Angie, and their dog Snoopy. They roll up first.
That's right.
And the dog just like jumps out and just like starts running around, you know, like right as they pull up.
All frantic, like it's
Snoopy is the dog's name.
Snoopy, come back. Yeah, and the then like shortly after they pull up and they're kind of like getting out of their car and like figured out, that's when Robert Englund's character also rolls up. Yeah, and it's like, you know, it doesn't really explain, but for some reason Buck is like not pleased with his presence and is just like instantly enraged. Like you would think that if you just had a prospective family pull up that is interested in staying in your hotel, that you wouldn't like freak out at this other person that just rolled up. Like you would maybe wait until they were in their room or another time to do it. But yeah, he just basically just freaks out on Robert Englund's character. Yeah, he starts like running up to him, and he's all yelling at him like, "Nah, I told you to stay out of here." Property. But you know, then Robert Englund appears to like give him something. Yeah, like a wad of cash or something. Yeah, and then he like, I don't know, it's just like weird exchange. It's like I couldn't tell. It's like it's almost, well, honestly what I think it was is I think it was like the fucking white powder shit that he uses later in this. We'll see. I think Robert Englund's like giving him dope. And, maybe. And anyway, it's like fucking weird, but surely, you know, their interaction's not too long, and then his character, you know, he drives off, and then you find that like then the little girl like shortly after that discovers like the monkey that we were just like seeing is dead. Yeah, like I thought it was just sleeping, but it's like, yeah, she like pokes it with the stick, and oh my god, yeah. Oh. It's like the mom. I think the mom walked over. My mom just like looked at it and goes, "Yeah, like literally, the line was like, pitiful little creature." It's like, fuck, dude. These people. Yeah, while Judd goes to check on the dead monkey, and the dog is like up close to the crocodile pen, barking at the crocodile, and then ends up like slipping its way into the cage. Tisk. Probably not a good idea. Probably not a good idea. And I love how like, so a long story short, the fucking crocodile eats the dog, like literally like
like 8 inches in front of Angie, who's just watching, like just literally watches her fucking pet dog get
demolished.
That'd be traumatizing. I'm not gonna lie.
It would not. That would haunt you for a very long time. The mom runs up and like grabs Angie, who's like at the cage, and they like pulls her away. Angie falls down, and the mom does this like wild spin and then like falls down.
Yeah, and Angie lets out the first of many like ear shrilling screams, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
rightfully so.
It was earned. It was definitely earned.
So this is also okay. So what also is interesting to me here is that if I was at this place and the proprietor's crocodile just ate my dog, I wouldn't then go up to my room and stay at the hotel, because that's what they do. They just like, oh, let's go up to the room and put Angie to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, what?
It's the most bizarre move, right? Like, no, that's not how this works, man. That little girl does not want to stay there right now. I guarantee it. Like that. Yeah. I don't know. Like nothing about them coming up and like booking this room has like felt right to this point.
Right. Right.
But then again, like the characters are fucking bizarre too. Like
we see that shortly.
Roy is like
we see that shortly.
Yeah, they just
Well, I guess even right here, because he like apologizes about the whole thing. But he's like,
are interacting well with each other. Like he sits like off to the side and like.
Yeah, he's like he apologizes, and Faye mentions something like, well, I don't expect you to do nothing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we see more of it later, but yeah, he's kind of a weird man.
Yeah.
And like, while this whole scene of them arguing is going on, you get the shot of Judd in his room, like up close to the wall, listening to this whole interaction going on.
Yeah, dude, he's just like spying on everybody, limping around the fucking shack, and I don't know. This dude is just not. Like, I don't know why you would like. That's why I kept thinking this entire movie. I don't know why anybody would fucking stay there. Like,
speaking of people staying there, we get the next 2. Like you said, yeah. Wow. You must be desperate to. I guess the next 2 that come, they kind of have a motive for why they are there, because we get introduced to Harvey, and his daughter Libby. And they kind of pull up. He asks if they have a room, and then he pulls out a picture of Clara, his daughter, who was the prostitute from the beginning.
Yeah, that's the connect.
Yes, that's the one that not Buck. Sorry, excuse me. That's the one that Judd, the first kill.
Yeah, and
of course he naturally says, that he's never seen her, and that he mentioned something about. Judd's answer is he'll have nothing to do with that here, and mentions that if he wants to find her, he can go look at the brothel.
Yeah, just like he says it like it's just common knowledge, like the local prostitute house or whatever, and it's just like. Yeah, it's interesting, and again, like he said, like at least like these 2 characters have a motive to be here. Like
totally,
they're looking for people, not just a good time, I guess.
Yeah. So they end up like they I don't even remember if they pay for the room or not, but they're
kind of roll back out, like
because they go to town just to look for Clara. And then we go back to Roy, Faye, and Angie, and this is where like it establishes more that Roy is just weird and unhinged, because like Faye's trying to clean up because she has like dirt all over her from the incident earlier. But he's just like weird, where at one point he starts like barking and doing all this weird shit, just freaking his daughter out. He's like unhinged as hell.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's like yelling at the carpet about like an eye or something, and like,
oh yeah, that's right. He just says a bunch of weird ass shit.
And and it's also strange with like when she's like, kind of like getting cleaned up, she takes off like a wig, like her.
Yeah, that's right.
Brown and
I forgot about that.
And she takes off this wig and has like long blonde hair underneath it, and they never explain that either.
Yeah,
just like okay,
it's just this weird couple.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roy has got a screw loose.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. And he like whoever that actor is, I like what's his name? William Finley. Like that dude, I wouldn't recognize him in other things, but what's
continue?
It? Well, he just like nails his like unhinged.
Will you look up and see what else he's been in? Because you know what he kind of looks like the guy that's in Night of the Living Dead. They're coming for you, Barbara. He kind of looks like that guy.
Oh, that might be a good call. You know, he is like, just looking into this IMDb real quick, that guy has been in quite a bit, you know. He, like, obviously he was in Eating Live, but he also appeared in The Funhouse, that other Tobe Hooper.
Another Tobe Hooper movie,
yeah. Things like Night Terrors. He was in Tales from the Crypt episode.
Okay. So he's been in horror before. Okay.
Yeah, and a little more modern. He was like he had like, I guess, like a bit role in like, or a small part in like that Black Dahlia murder movie from 2006.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Huh.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess he's been like floating around or horror kin, but I mean, for his small character, like it's like a really captivating, interesting thing, because you're just like, what the fuck is up with this guy? Totally,
because it never explains it, and it's just like, because here soon he's no longer around, because after this whole scene of him just like acting like going all bonkers, he ends up heading downstairs, and he reaches in his trunk and pulls out a fucking shotgun.
Yeah, right. Like as if these people aren't mysterious enough. This dude's just carrying around a rifle, like a fucking shotgun and ammo in his trunk with his kid and his wife. And yeah, he's like, that motherfucker's gonna go kill that croc.
Yeah.
And I love that this is like, you get one of those other like random pieces of information about the crocodile in this scene. It's like, that croc came all the way from Africa. Here's an expensive. Yeah,
I love that. I wrote that down too. Yeah, he came from Africa apparently.
I love it.
But yeah, Roy mentions how it's dangerous and how he's going to see to. I love this. He says he's going to see to it that he destroys it and advises Judd to not interfere.
Yeah. Just advises. It's just like, well, and then Judd has this like weird, like, I don't know, like mental break or something, because he starts like saying weird things like, bring me the uniform and get it now or whatever. He's just like saying shit,
which continues later for sure.
Yeah, and you know, you hear fucking Roy fire off at the water. Doesn't look like he hits anything. But Judd just then bum rushes him with a fucking scythe, right?
Yeah, the scythe is amazing.
Dude.
There's also a great line where after he fires off the first shot, it goes back up to Faye upstairs, and she has this great line where she says, "Daddy's off to slay the dragon." Like, this family is bizarre as hell.
What the fuck? This family goes on road trips where they go around to gator farm, just
I guess
blowing their tops off.
But
but the actual kill. So Roy gets like hacked up a bit with the scythe by Judd, but the actual kill comes from the fucking croc in this sequence. And
right.
I loved this shot, dude.
Yeah.
Like, cause like he's on the porch, you know, there's like still, you know, like some, what am I trying to say? Some fucking, I don't know. There's like shit in between him and the croc, like a little like, and the croc just comes
a banister. Yeah.
Thank you, jeez. The croc comes busting through the fucking banister.
It's amazing.
And just like jaws around the dude's dome, like drags him back the fuck into the water. It's so good.
Yeah, and their little like fray was good too, because after he gets stabbed like 2 or 3 times with the scythe, and he ends up like firing off a shot with the shotgun that barely misses Judd's foot, but we see later that some of the spray like got his leg. But just the scene of the crocodile just out of nowhere coming up, busting through the fucking banister and yanking him into the water was amazing.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite shots. I was just like, what a fucking move.
And then just the great shot of Judd looking on in awe is good too. Like,
well, because you could tell, like, in a way, like he's like fascinated by like what this croc can take down, you know?
Yeah. or just like the timing of the croc or whatever, because it's like, you know, it's interesting. So that happens, and then we go back to Faye and Angie, and Faye's kind of like lulls Angie to sleep finally. You know what I mean? What am I trying to say?
Which is crazy because of all the fucking shit that just went down outside.
Multiple
Gunshots and shit. But
because she's thinking that he killed the crocodile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then then we get that scene that you're talking about where
he does some weird stuff in that. Well, like, yeah.
Yeah, he notices the wound on his leg and seems to eat some kind of white powder that makes him feel better.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what I think it's just like whatever happens later in this movie, like this point, like helped fuel his like weird rage or whatever.
Yeah, because it could have been like amphetamines. It could have, I don't know what it was.
It was whatever, but I'm pretty sure it's whatever Buck gave him though.
Yeah, it's some form of drug. You know what I mean?
But like you also, like you were saying, you kind of get follow up, like you see that Judd actually has like a wooden leg or something, and that's where he like kind of references catching some of that the scatter from the fucking shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
like it's kind of interesting. It doesn't really play, like, I don't think the wooden leg plays much of a factor.
I didn't even notice that, so that's a good eye. I guess I didn't notice that. But yeah, so he kind of tends to you know, the damage that he took, and again in this scene he kind of is rambling, and you can tell that he, you know, is not all there. And then finally Faye kind of, you know, realizing that Roy hasn't came back up yet, and Angie's sleeping, so she goes to look for Roy, and she's up at like the top of the stairs and yells for him to bring up the suitcase. Judd comes out and she asks Judd where he is, and he goes, he'll be up in a minute, ma'am, in a minute. So she heads into the shower, you know, thinking that, you know, Roy's going to come up in a minute. We get this kind of long scene where she takes off her pantyhose and then her sweater and starts to undress, but doesn't get totally naked.
No.
And then
this shot's also really, like, the lighting in that sequence is really cool too. There's like that red lighting we keep talking about is sort of mixed with like almost blue, and it's kind of like popping through the window.
Yeah, it actually looks good though. It's not like those really awful, weird fucking filters they used in Blood Beat. Probably because this movie actually had a budget. But
you can immediately tell the difference in terms of like
totally
film.
And then Judd does something kind of nice here, where we see that he brings up the suitcases for both visitors. He puts the suitcases in one room for the other guest, and then brings the other suitcase to Roy and Faye's room. But as he gets there, he kind of like angrily like kicks it in. It's pretty funny.
He's mad that he's doing these hosting duties.
These like little menial tasks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is kind of like a weird thing, because it's like, well, I don't know really why he's doing that. Like I mean, amongst everything going on, the dude's killed 2 people.
Yeah, you know he's gonna kill these people. Like, why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe to give them a false sense of security, or well, they don't know they're gonna die, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's also like, you know, shortly thereafter he sort of catches Faye into the shower.
Busts into her shower. Yeah, he busts into the shower.
Yeah.
The
and
bathroom.
like, you know, she like understandably is just like, what the fuck are you doing in here? You know, and he just immediately like starts assaulting her. This wakes up Angie.
Yeah.
Who comes running down the hall. And this was like honestly, this would be terrifying.
Way more traumatizing. Yeah.
Yeah. She just, you know, from her perspective, you see like him just like on top of her mom, who's like wrapped up in the shower, and he's just smacking the fuck out of her.
Yeah, because he has her like he entangles her in the shower curtain, and then he's just like beating the piss out of her. So
yeah, dude. And like he ties her up in the meantime.
Right.
And
but yeah,
it's
and
just a horrible sequence. Oh,
it would be as if watching your dog get eaten
this
wasn't bad enough. Yeah, Angie sees that and runs off. And we get a great little chase scene where she like they get this chase scene outside, and she ends up hiding under the porch, and Judd like shuts her in, like he's gonna deal with her later, and he does.
Yeah, he like locks this little latch or whatever. And, oh no, she's fucking trapped, dude.
Because she ends up spending pretty much the rest of the movie under, and there's actually some good stuff that happens later, like some pretty tense stuff, but she's pretty much relegated to screaming and being stuck under the porch. But
yeah, well, and like during that whole like foot chase that happens, like he tries to take some fucking chops out of her with that side.
Yeah, he does.
Missing. But I was just thinking, I was like, while it was happening, I was like, this dude's just gonna try. He just wants to fucking skewer this little kid. He doesn't even give a fuck. Like,
no, he would. Yeah, he does not.
No,
but he kind of, like I mentioned, he shuts her in there, and kind of returns back to what he was doing. Actually, I take that back. So we see Faye, who her arms are still tied behind her back, and she tries to head downstairs. But she doesn't make it very far.
No, there's this great moment. Judd pops out from the side. He's like, ha! Like right as she's coming down the stairs. It's because of the character. You're just like, it just looks really funny. But he immediately like chases her back upstairs, and it's like, you just know no good's gonna come from this situation because her hands are tied behind her back. This dude's like fueled on something. He's raged up, and like, like he basically just corners her, beats her up again, and then like, you kind of have this like, fade to black moment. It kind of picks back up with like an owl hooting, and then like shows Judd and sitting down in a room, hooting, like
hooting out the window. Yeah. Ha! And then we see Faye. Yeah.
He's like now tied up on a fucking bed, like hands and fucking legs, and
tape on her mouth. Yeah. That'd be a terrible situation to be in.
Yeah.
And he is. It's funny because it's like, well, I don't mean funny as in like it's funny that she's tied up, but what's funny is that she's tied up in this like compromised situation, and he has the nerve to complain to her about his leg.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, he's like, oh man, like my leg. What a fucking like.
Oh yeah, and then proceeds to tell her about Angie being under the porch and how he has to pull her out.
Yeah. At least he's filling her in, I guess. Yeah, I gotta get her later. She's under there.
And this is what I mentioned.
Going on?
This is what I mentioned earlier, where it shows him again writing something into his notebook, which like led me to assume that his notebook is maybe a detailed diary of the goings-ons of all the criminal activity that happens at the hotel. I could be wrong.
No, I think that's a good theory because like I think at this point he's just assuming that he's gonna murder these two.
He also has some other weird ramblings here about. He mentioned something about regulations and knowing the rules. It's really really weird.
It's
just a good picture. Yeah. It's just a good.
Sorry.
Continue. No, you go.
I was just saying, like, some of his dialogue just leaves you to believe that there's more to his character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, or at least this actor is putting more thought into maybe like the character and like what the character's background might be. Because some of that stuff you're just like, what does that mean? Like in the grand scheme of it.
They do a really good job of painting him as kind of, maybe not all there, or he's obviously got some kind of mental health. He's unhinged, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there's so many sporadic things, right? Like in this sequence, like we're talking about, he says something like, about regulations, and then, mentions a uniform again, and like, stuff like that. And it's just none of it's coherent and like connected. It's like a lot of sporadic fucking shit.
Yeah, he just rambles on for a good while, and most of it's, like you said, just like incoherent nonsense.
Yeah, it's interesting. And meanwhile, like obviously, like the situation is still afoot. Angie is still underneath the porch, and you get, like you were pointing out, you get kind of a sequence of her, like being terrified of a rat or something like that.
Yeah, seeing the crocodile, seeing a rat. Yeah.
And just I don't know.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Being 5, 6, 7, however old she was, your dog just died. You watched your mom being assaulted. You don't know where your dad is, and you're underneath the porch, and there's an alligator. Yeah, I'd be screaming too.
It's pretty. Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's like it's a pretty fucking wild situation for that kid to be in.
Yeah. But then we kind of meet back up with Harvey and Libby, who are now at a police station, and they're getting ready to meet Sheriff Martin.
Yeah, and during their whole meeting, they bring up, like the brothel and everything, and almost like in this like accusational sort of way of like, what's with this town, and like, why does everybody just know about this thing, and like,
yeah, that's what like Harvey. It's almost like he's like admonishing him for, what kind of town are you running here,
Yeah.
He mentions the house of ill repute, and yeah, he's just kind of like almost like judging, like as if he's never like seen a brothel before or whatever.
Yeah. He doesn't know what the term loose means.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's an interesting interaction because like the sheriff, like, I don't know, you only see him a handful of times in this movie,
right?
Which is kind of interesting because you'd think there'd be a little bit more.
But yeah, it's true. He asks them, what's going on. Libby kind of mentions Claire's disappearance and how they checked into the hotel. He's like, well, maybe go back to your hotel room, and first thing in the morning we'll look into it. But Harvey is like really persistent. Or insistent, sorry, that they do it right now. And it continues with Martin basically being like, well, or he thinks that her dad thinks that she's at Miss Hattie's and he wants to know. So they're like, so Sheriff Martin finally agrees to take him over and put his mind at ease.
Yeah, I think I can't remember if it's like they all end up going to Miss Hattie's or whatever.
Yeah, here in a little while, yeah.
But yeah. But it's just like, again, it's sort of like an interesting thing because you're like, I don't know, like one of the only sort of like interesting motives are what those two characters are there for, right? To find their like missing daughter/sibling. Right. And it almost like just takes like such a back burner to like the rest of the story in a lot of ways. Because like, right after this, you fade right back into like another sequence where it features Angie, like under the porch, Judd, trying to get at her and shit.
Yeah.
And it's like it takes you right back out of that and like right into this more dire situation,
Right. Because he kind of creeps in and is trying to find her, but she keeps moving to different sections to hide. Yeah, and like, so then we see, Sheriff Martin, Harvey and Libby, they do arrive at Miss Hattie's. The maid lets them in. They go to talk to Miss Hattie, and it's kind of funny because, like, as they're walking through, it's almost like the sheriff, maybe visits that place pretty often. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't flat out say that, but you can tell, like, as he's walking through, like, everyone's acknowledging him. The girls are smiling at him. Like, it's pretty clear that Sheriff Martin has probably spent some, valuable time there.
He spent some of his well-earned taxpayer dollars there.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this features a strange gray Miss Hattie.
Yeah,
almost, like in this lighting, like I got to be honest, and it's nothing against the actress, because respect to the OG Morticia, but like. It like almost looks like she's like an alien or something, dude.
Yeah, she looks very sickly, and it's an interesting choice now that you pointed out.
Like, I just can't, like, I kept wondering, like, was there supposed to be something else with that character?
Yeah, why couldn't they have just let her look normal? Because you can tell there's some kind of weird fucking makeup on her. Because I guess if she was more prominent in the movie, but it's just like she's in it for a couple scenes, and like you mentioned, she just looks so weird and out of place. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's strange. But anyway, they show.
I love.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
I was just gonna say, like, they show her like a photo and everything, you know, and go through
I
the
love-
steps.
I love her reply because she's like, never seen her before in my life, and that's just like that's good enough for the sheriff. Like, yeah, no more. Like, okay, yeah, I'm satisfied. Yeah,
yeah,
it's cut and dry. You know, she's never been here. Like, god damn.
They end up talking more about Judd in this sequence than they do about the missing girl.
That's so true. Because she goes into this like thing about how Judd used to come around all the time, but all he would do is talk his crazy talk and scare the girls.
Yeah. Dude,
that's a good point, dude.
She you know, Miss Hattie even mentions like, you know, that croc again mentions that this croc came from Africa, and this is where you find out that Judd had his leg fucking ripped off by the croc.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so it's like that's why, like, I don't know, that that bleeds into like his character quite a bit, because it's like, you know, the way he like looks like horribly fascinated by how the croc eats things and shit, like in the movie. You're just like, man, he's like kind of maybe respect and fear.
Yeah, it's a good point. Another funny thing about this scene is like right when they get there, Miss Hattie tries to sell them land. She's like, "Oh, I got this great land over here if you guys want to buy it." Like, what the fuck?
That was so weird too. Why not? Since we're here, you know?
Yeah. Not only am I a madame, but I'm also a real estate agent. Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh man, and so you know, kind of the movie kind of does another one of those like kind of too black kind of shots, and then it sort of comes back up with again Judd sort of trying to bait Angie out of the fucking basement, or out of, you know, under the porch, like, look what I got for you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about that. He's like, I won't. He tells her he's not going to hurt her. Now he has something for her. That's right. I forgot about that.
Old Judd's got something for you. Like, but you know, it only goes so far, because he's going up and down at this point. You know, it doesn't work. She doesn't take the bait, and then he like, I gotta try to go after her again.
Yeah, he like catches a glimpse of her and smiles, and then like tries to jump at her with the scythe.
Yeah, dude, he's just wielding this scythe like nobody's fucking. I couldn't even believe he had that thing under the porch.
That thing is amazing. Yeah, that scythe puts Death's scythe to shame. But luckily, she does a good job of evading him long enough here, because as he's trying to chase her, we see these headlights pull up. And we notice that Harvey's back at the hotel, but he's back by himself, and we don't learn why just yet, because we hear him talking to Libby about he'll be all right. So anyway, Harvey's back at the hotel.
He kind of he ends up going inside for a bit and stuff.
Yeah, because he as he's walking up, you hear Angie whimper. He kind of stops for a second, like maybe he thought he heard something. But yeah, he heads inside, and he starts.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Continue.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, you know, he keeps like, again, he keeps hearing like noise or something, and it draws him back outside eventually.
And
right?
this is and then what's coming up is probably my favorite death of the whole movie.
Oh, it's a good shot. It's, you know, because he's investigating, like, maybe under the porch.
Yeah, he goes to check the hatch.
But what does he get instead?
Oh man, it's amazing! It's amazing. He bends down to check the hatch, and out of nowhere, Judd just emerges with the fucking scythe, and we get this great slow motion shot of Judd swinging the scythe, and then slicing into fucking Harvey's throat. We get this great close-up shot of Harvey's eyes as they widen, like as he's getting, and we hear the sound of the slice. And as if getting sliced isn't bad enough, the fucking scythe is like embedded in his throat.
Yeah,
and
dude.
it's amazing. And you get this like elongated scene where he's walking with it and ends up walking onto the porch. And this is another scene where Judd's kind of looking on in glee.
Yeah.
And he finally falls to the ground, and it's still embedded in his throat. And as if that wasn't bad enough, he's like writhing. I'm sorry for stealing the glory on this whole scene.
You're good. You're good.
But he's writhing around in agony on the porch, and Judd like gets closer and starts to like pull the scythe out of his throat, all at the same time that the crocodile nears up, bites onto his lower half, and fucking yanks him into the water as the scythe gets ripped out of his throat at the same time, and then he gets eaten.
It's so fucking cool. Like I was not expecting like that cool of a special effects work and stuff like right there. You know,
it was incredible.
It was so
incredible.
Good. And yeah, just that like that shot of like, you know, Judd trying to get the side, and then like, you know, what the combo of the croc and him pulling the side, and you're just like, what the fuck?
It's
dude?
like you're sitting there like, what? How is he gonna die? And then he dies, like, not only like I said, as if getting a scythe embedded into your throat wasn't bad enough, but then getting fucking eaten by a croc. Like, it's, in my opinion, it's a gorgeous, amazing, beautiful death scene if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it's fucking, it's legit. Oh man, yeah, that like definitely I think takes like the top kill of the movie probably.
I agree completely.
But then you know, you like right after that, you kind of pick up really back in town at
it's like at a bar
or something. And,
yeah, it's some kind of drinking establishment of some form.
A watering hole. But like, you know, Buck's there from earlier, so Robert Englund's back in the picture.
Yes, finally.
He's like playing, like, you know, there's this young lady who's you know, playing pool with him or whatever. They feature like this guy who walks in. He looks really out of place. He looks like he's trying to be a cowboy. Like he's like not a cowboy, but he's looking that he's trying. He's like
trying to be a cowboy. I want to be a cowboy, baby.
Oh man, taking me right there. Oh my god, I want to be a cowboy, baby.
Fuck you, Kid Rock.
Kid Rock owes us money now. That's how that works. But it's like, it's strange because, like, you know, even the locals seem to notice he's out of place, because like some dude who's kind of like, I don't know, he seems kind of intoxicated or whatever. Goes
because he's like
guy sitting in the bar.
Yeah, because he's also as Buck and this girl are playing pool, the girl's kind of like bent over to take her shot, and this guy's like very clearly ogling her.
Yeah,
but continue with what you were saying.
No, you're right. He's like, yeah. Well, he gets like shoved. This guy gets kind of like, you know, another dude in his face, and this dude's like, kind of smacking him a little bit and like messing with him, and
he like bitch slaps him a couple times.
Yeah, and then like, you know, they have this like back and forth where, you know, this dude with the glasses who seems out of place like shoves the other guy against the wall, and then it just kind of like simmers down again.
Well, because Buck tells him to come take a shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. And that's when you find out that the sheriff and Libby are just like sitting a few tables over. Yeah,
they stroll in, you know, and sit down at a table. He asks her how long. Her sister's been gone. They order something to drink, and then at the same time, the waiter, you know, he tells the waiter that if Buck is up to no good or gets in any trouble, to let him know and he'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And then we kind of get Libby kind of unloads some information here on Martin. We learn that her dad is sick, and that it's only a question of time until he dies, essentially.
Yeah. It kind of like, so it sets like a little bit of like a precedent for him, like needing to get this, you know, they want to get, you know, their missing kin, you know, found now. Yeah,
because we learned too that at some point they had a fight, or whatever, and the daughter ran off, and that at the time he didn't care. You know, he kind of like pushed her out, but now that he's dying, he's obsessed with finding her. And she mentions how he spent a fortune on private detectives and chased her all over the country, and that they still haven't found her.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting dynamic because
It is.
You know, this all being said, you already watched this individual die, so it's kind of,
And the daughter that he was searching for, you know what I mean?
yeah, so it's kind of fucked in a way.
It is.
You know,
It is fucked because unbeknownst to them, like this girl they're looking for is already dead, and it is cool. Like you said, it's a cool setup. Kind of,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
but of course, you know, Buck ruins this character moment, man.
Totally.
Causes a fuck us over by the pool table, and draws the sheriff's attention, who kind of gets up in his fucking face, and
Mhm.
you know, this is where you find out also the girl Buck's with currently might be underage because the sheriff's like, yeah, well, what's she drinking there, and like stuff
That's
like that,
right.
you know?
Yeah. Oh my
basically-
God, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't look like a Coke to me, or I think that's what he said.
Yeah. And she's very clearly drinking like a Miller High Life or something like that. Like,
Yeah, whatever, cheap
But-
beer. But yeah, that's funny.
yeah,
Doc
But,
likes
like-
him young.
but but like Buck, like, you know, he goes back to kind of like, well, I think he's getting ready to leave, but he says like right when him and the sheriff kind of part, he calls the sheriff an egg sucker, and I thought that was
right.
fucking great. Like, yeah, whatever, egg sucker. But,
What a random fucking like diss to say to somebody.
yeah. But you know, him and the lady he's with, I can't. They end up like, you know, leaving the bar, but he also like on the way out almost gets into a fight with somebody.
Yeah, he just like harasses this fucking other bar patron for no reason.
Buck's got a chip on his shoulder, I guess. And
Yeah.
you know, so then you're kind of like left to pick back up with the Starlight and Judd, and he looks like he's trying to like clean up.
Yeah,
or
he's
something, you know?
he's like mopping all the massive amount of blood on the front porch, which he already had to do once earlier after Clara died. So yeah, he must be doing that a lot.
It must be a regular activity. But up rolls Buck again and kind of causes the same reaction as earlier
Yeah,
from Judd, where he just immediately is like, "Get off my property! I told you not to come here," and all this shit. And
yep.
you know,
Yeah, he's not very happy to see him. You know what I mean?
But Buck don't give a fuck. He just he just storms right in and grabs like a set
Yeah,
of keys or whatever.
Yeah, it's like the girl kind of is mocking Judd while Buck sneaks in and just grabs a pair of keys. They head up to a room.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. So it's like, you know, and this is where, yeah, like you get some sort of like, there's got to be something more to their relationship, like Buck and Judd. Because
Yeah.
it's like you've taken my money and stuff like that, and
Yeah, it's never explained. Maybe he was selling him drugs, or
anyway,
yeah, it's never really explained.
it's yeah, they have some sort of like issue with each other for sure, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
And then
Which
like,
I guess, in the grand scheme of things, like we don't necessarily need to know
no,
what that situation is for you know what I mean.
no, it's fairly unnecessary, honestly. But yeah, this, you know, and then Judd just ends up going back to cleaning, and that's when you pick back. Yeah, I think you kind of pick back up with the sheriff and Libby again.
Yeah, he's dropping her off in her car. Mentions that you know, he's gonna put out an all points bulletin on Clara, and that if she needs anything, to get in touch with him.
Yeah,
What a
Yeah.
guy!
what a guy. There's also been like a handful of shots, and you get one right after this where, you know, you see the character Faye, who's still bound to the bed, kind of
Oh,
struggling,
yeah.
and it happens like a
That's
couple
right.
of times, just really quick shots of her, you know,
That's right. I forgot about
still
that.
there, but
Yeah,
The-
she's
the-
not having
the-
a good time.
no. But this takes you right back up to Buck's special night where he, you know, he's all like laying on the bed in his room. And,
That's right. He's got his shirt off. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, he's blasting his nips, and so she quickly blasts hers, and
Oh yeah, that's right. We get the first, you know, we get the obligatory tit shot, the first
Yeah.
of the movie.
and you know, like I mean, Buck's rearing to go. That's like all that can really be said. Like he's just like, this whole scene is just like a slow scene of him just like, you know, let's get it on. Like,
well, yeah.
and they do, but like what's weird is like, you know, Judd also knows that they're gonna get it on, and
yeah.
You know,
yeah, he's like, oh wow, that's right.
He creeps up to the door and like listens in like he did earlier in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he kind of looks like all weird. But he's also worried. That's the thing. It's like at this point in the movie, like those two are in the Buck and whoever are in that room, face tied up making noise in the other room. Angie's under the porch making noise.
Right. And we get shots of that stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. All mixed in with like, yeah, they're it's like all
that's
shots of all these different elements happening. And
right
in between all of this, like Judd, like he ends up like trying to like cover it, you know, mask it with like turning on the radio really loud and shit.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's just kind of an interesting element because it's like all unraveling all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Totally. And that's, yeah, because it kind of does. Yeah. He goes into the living room and turns on this music. He also like starts turning the lamps off.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we know, he's up as Buck and Lynette, that's her name. Buck and Lynette are starting to get frisky. The next thing we know after he turns on the radio and all the lamps off is that he's up in Faye's room and he starts moving the bed. As this is happening, Buck, who is angry about the radio, ends up getting up, putting on his pants on, and exits the room looking for Judd. He notices, and then he ends up going outside, and he notices all the damage. Like the blood is mopped up, so he doesn't see the blood, but he notices the damage to the porch, like the broken banister.
Yeah.
And as he's on the porch, like you get a sense that he hears Angie under the stairs. Because he's kind of like looking down, you know, looking around, and while this is happening, we see very quietly that Judd has snuck up behind him.
My God, dude, Judd is such a sneaky motherfucker.
He really is.
Like, because there's these shots where like at times when he's like looking around the porch and stuff, Buck is like leaning really far down, and you almost get this like moment, at least I did, where I was like, maybe he's gonna get like the crocodile's gonna get him right now or something.
Totally. They do build some good suspense.
Yeah, but then like you said, Judd sneaks up behind him and just like shoves him over the fucking banister into the fucking water.
I love Buck's reaction. You go, "I'll get your ass for this." But dude, he unfortunately does not get Judd's ass though. No.
Because Robert Englund gets you know, he's like, it looks at first like he's getting away. He gets kind of up to the little like dock thing, and then like all of a sudden, now the fucking croc got him and like starts dragging him back, and he's like trying to claw his way up onto the you know, it looked like he might have been screwed either way, because Judd grabs the scythe and it's like Judd's kind of toying with him as he's trying to get out. So it's like, but like you said, out of nowhere, the alligator just pops up and drags him, chomps him. You see like blood, you know, in the water. Buck gets chowed down on, and Judd just looks on and smiles. At this same point, Lynette had heard the scream, and she starts to get dressed too. So she ends up heading outside and sees Judd holding the scythe, and a chase ensues again, where she runs into the woods, and obviously Judd follows after her. Yeah, he follows after her with his scythe. He's like trying to, you know, he's just hell bent on fucking slicing people with that shit. But, you know, for even the few times that she fell and took forever to get up, she still somehow gets away.
Yeah, he seems to get lost in it's like it's very foggy, and he gets lost at some turn and doesn't find her. And I was really surprised. I thought they were going to have this great scene where he chases her out into the woods and finds her, you know what I mean, and ends up killing her. But so it kind of subverts expectations in the way that she actually manages to get away. She runs out from the woods, and just luckily this car happens to be passing by as she runs out, and she ends up getting saved in this, you know what I mean? And you can tell that pisses Judd off. Yeah,
because he starts kind of yelling a little bit and like takes some he starts like hacking at a tree or something with his side, like all frustrated. It was kind of interesting. It's like, oh, there's a survivor,
right?
But and from there it kind of picks up with Libby sort of rolling back up to the Starlight.
Totally.
And at this point, Judd's not there, but the like Faye's still there, Angie's still under the porch.
Yeah.
But like Libby at first doesn't kind of like catch on to anything. I think she just ends up going up to her room.
Yeah, she takes off her she starts to get undressed too, like she's getting ready for bed. This is where we get a second tit shot, and it's unnecessary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's 70s.
Yeah, she starts getting undressed and shit, and like you said, and like, which I did think was sort of strange. I'd be like, I'd be so like weirded out about this whole situation right now. Like, it's so quiet, nobody's around. Like,
totally. And as that's going on, we see Judd makes his way back to. He peers under the porch, and he makes his way back over to where Buck was just eating, and he's laughing about it. And then he starts doing something interesting where he starts using the scythe to try to open up the grating, beneath the porch to let the crocodile in.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's like trying to cut through it. And, like this obviously gets Angie's attention. And you also note that like Libby starts to hear some stuff at this point.
Yeah.
And so like things are kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah, because Angie starts screaming as the crocodile makes its way
into under the porch or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Which, what the fuck, dude? Like
dude, that'd be fucking
girl,
terrifying.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like, I don't even know. Just say take me now.
Totally.
But yeah, no. She tries to evade as the crocodile's underneath there. And again, at this point, Libby's sort of like, what's going on around here? Libby just like wanders out, and at first discovers Faye.
Totally.
Tied up on the bed, and it's like, oh my god, like what the fuck, and like starts like untying her, and trying to get out. Like Angie manages to get out from under the porch.
Well, because she like there's a scene where the crocodile like lunges at her and barely misses her, and continues to chase after her. But yeah, because Libby and Faye, she gets Faye free, and they head downstairs. Well, they're about to head downstairs, but Judd fucking does another one of his like really good timing moments where,
except this time he has his scythe in hand.
He they end up going back upstairs. He lunges at Faye, and like, they have this part where he makes it into the room and he's chasing after Faye, and he like lunges at her, but ends up bashing through the window and almost falling out.
I thought that might have been the moment. I was like, oh no, is he gonna tumble into the crocodile pit or something?
Totally.
But no, it does not end there. Like, like you said, like he kind of flops out, but he gets back inside. Faye's like sustained a wound on her leg at this point.
Yes.
And she's fucking bleeding. She's gotten hammered, dude. And
because at this point, I want you to continue with what you're saying, but at this point, Libby is outside and sees Angie. But like you mentioned, Faye's in bad shape.
Yeah, and like her and Judd continue to struggle, and like they end up flying off the fucking set, like the top of the stairwell.
Well, he pushes her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point. He pushes her, and she just fucking like eats it down there. And again, she's just like taking it, but she, like she keeps trying to get back up. And like you mentioned, like Libby has found Angie at the moment, who's like trying to crawl out of the fucking like crocodile pit or whatever. She's like half on the fence, and like Libby's trying to like climb up there and pull her off of the fence.
Because like you mentioned, Judd pushes her to where the railing of the stairs break and she plummets down. But instead of finishing the job, Judd passes by her and heads outside instead to see the sight of Libby trying to grab Angie from one side of the fence to bring her over.
Yeah.
And he starts shaking it, and he's trying to reach for Angie. And then this is where Faye finally gets to enact her revenge on Judd, because she makes her way outside and she ends up pushing Judd down, and he fall, and oh man.
Motherfucker gets what he deserves.
Yeah, he gets his just desserts,
dude. Because she pushes him down there into the crocodile pit.
Mm-hmm.
And
then what happens?
Well, we all know he gets his motherfucking head bit.
Yeah,
right in there, man. Like, it was such a cool shot. The croc comes out of the water. His head's just like right where it needs to be for those jaws just to come down on it.
Oh man, it's glorious.
Hell, dude, it's so cool. And you know, of course, you know, after this awesome moment, Judd gets dragged away. You know, eating the fucking croc's eating like 3 people today. You know, of course, though, this is the moment that the sheriff decides to show up.
Yeah,
you know?
we get another like great red lighting. As Sheriff Martin, for some reason, even though he had already, you know, let Libby go and told her, if you need me, you can call me, but she didn't call him. But yeah, he just randomly shows up. He ends up helping pull Angie down from the fence. He tends to the wounded Faye, you know, telling her it's going to be all right. Just a shot of the crocodile popping up, chowing down on his head and yanking them in.
So
man,
it was
he
so
gets
good.
his.
It was so good. Yeah, and you wanted to fucking get it too at the end of the
totally.
movie. But you just think somebody fucking kill him, croc, eat him, something. And you know, the whole movie kind of ends with like a shot of his like the only thing left is his wooden leg just sort of floating.
That's
in the
what
water.
that was. Yeah, I thought it was a limb, but it's his wooden leg.
Yeah. And you know, it was a good way to end it. But holy shit, man! Like, you know,
it's a wild ride.
It's a wild ride, and there's some really cool aesthetics about it. The character of Judd is just fucking wild, but like, you know, there's also like we mentioned, Roy was another like random
lunatic
just, like,
character.
Yeah, like there's so many like high energy characters in this.
It's
movie.
like, I think that's one of the things that Tobe Hooper really did well, was those kind of odd nutball characters. Because, you know, as we saw in Texas Chainsaw 2, Chop Top was a character like that, and you know what I mean, or just some of the Sawyer family. Drayton Sawyer was that way. So it's like he's good with making those like unhinged, like nutty, loopy fucking characters that just kind of jump out of the screen that you're drawn to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and again, you know, like playing off of some of that, like sort of like, I don't know, how do I say it? Like backwoods paranoia kind of thing. Like you have like with Texas Chainsaw, it felt like you could stumble onto like a town or a place like that. In this movie, it also, in a way, like it kind of feels like there are probably like some you know, small like fucking backwoods areas that house shit like this. And you know, you saying at the top of the cast where it's like this is kind of based off of this story and of a killer potentially.
I guarantee you someone along the lines of history has done that, killed somebody and fed them to an alligator.
Oh god, yeah, dude. And
guarantee
so it's like you know, it's like right in Tobe Hooper's wheelhouse, and that's why like this movie, for as fucking weird and cringy at times and like strange at times it can be like it's interesting, and it's a good paced movie because you get into it, and like some of the kills are shockingly fucking awesome.
They are.
Like, yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, obviously I'm a fan of stuff in horror that is more out there and things that can never happen. But I'm also a massive fan of horror that's more rooted in realism, where this is a situation that could actually happen. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a situation that could actually happen. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Well, what do you think you'd rate this? Rate Eaten Alive?
You know, I think I'd have to rate it 7 opening shots of a belt buckle out of 10.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm with you. I'd probably have to say, I'd give it I'd give it 7 crocodile jaws to the head out of 10 also, because it nails so many like interesting fun notes for a horror movie, you know. And yeah, one chef's kiss just
it
just
is a chef. Yeah, it's entertaining. You know, there's also, you know, they popped this on Shudder. They also put Funhouse, which is another good Hooper movie. They put, you know, there's always something good to watch on Shudder. But yeah, I was just happy when I turned it on the other day and those were both on there, because I'm glad I finally got to see this for the first time. So,
and some of the Puppet Master movies just popped up on there too. So,
wait, what?
Yep. We
No way.
Yeah, buddy. I knew. As if you didn't know, I'm glad I told you.
Holy shit! Yeah, Puppet Master 1, 2, and 3 are on there. That's I know what I'm doing tonight.
Dude, that's what I'm fucking saying, bro.
That's beautiful.
Man. Well, hey, on that note, episode 46.
Yes,
God damn
sir.
it, we nailed it. You keep listening. We'll keep recording as always, because we're always watching horror anyway.
Hell yeah.
But fuck yeah, man. Well, we'll see you on the next one. Corn dogs, really.
Yeah.
Toodaloo.
See you soon.